Hi, I'm Chloe and this is my friend Cody. In this video, we're going to show you the 5 basic principles of biomechanics to ensure your health and safety while working out.
We hope that this will help you and your friends have a better idea of what to look for while working out so that you know you're building your muscles the way that is safest and most useful in the prevention of injury.
All the principles that we show here are building blocks that you can apply to both static and dynamic exercises. The first principle that we're going to show you is to avoid having extraneous lateral motion at your joint. Sometimes people have a tendency to allow their knee or ankle, or really any joint for that matter, to move medially or laterally during an exercise. This is usually due to weakness in one of the supporting muscle groups. See how when Cody squats, his knee moves inward while he goes down. What you want to look for when you're working out with your friends is to maintain a straight motion with your knees. See how Cody's kneecap stays in the same plane throughout the motion of the squat? That shows that he is activating all the correct muscle groups to support the joint through movement in that direction. It may not seem that important to make sure that your knee doesn't move a little in or a little out from time to time, but by developing the correct motor program now during a basic exercise, one trains your muscles to fix your ankles as you progress to a more dynamic exercise, such as cutting during a run.
The idea of resisting lateral motion can be applied to all joints. For instance, when Chloe goes up on her toes during a calf raise, she also wants to avoid having too much lateral motion at her ankle joint to strengthen the muscles in her lower leg. This can help her avoid spraining her ankle as she converts the skill into sport.
The next principle for safe exercise is to have coordinated muscle actions. In other words, you want your muscle contractions to look smooth. See how when Cody does this bicep curl, the motion is smooth. This means that his muscles are all working together to ensure that no fibers are being loaded too much. When you see a motion more like this one, it is clear that some muscle fibers are being overworked and are in danger of being strained. This makes it so that the same exercise is going to have a greater impact on your joints and increase your risk for overuse injuries. Once again, this is going to be something you can apply as you get into more dynamic motions. When you do a more dynamic exercise like this push-up, you want all your motions to be as smooth and coordinated as possible to ensure that your body is being properly supported to prevent overuse injuries from overloading your tendons and ligaments. Now Cody will do a smooth version of the push-up that he's been struggling with. This way is much more safe for all of his body structures.
The next principle is that you want to maintain pelvic neutral. This means keeping your pelvis or hip bones in a neutral position. The pelvis sits kind of like a bowl, can be tilted back or tilted forward. When it is in one of these positions, it creates stress on your lumbar spine due to the more compact form. The increased stress leads to lower back pain and potential injury due to the muscles of your hip and back. Because of this, we want to make sure that your pelvis is in a flat, neutral position. Sometimes it can be hard to find this position. For some, it may mean a complete change in posture. The basic way to find this position is to lay on your back and press the small of your back down toward the ground. You should be activating your lower abs and gluteal muscles at first. It may be enough to just practice this. As you get better, you can add going into a bridge position.
In the bridge position, it is easier to see the difference between a pelvic neutral and pelvically rotated position. See how her back is arched, compressing her lumbar spine before she corrects to the correct pelvic position.
This pelvic neutral position should be maintained during dynamic exercises as well. As you get more used to it, you'll have to stop thinking about it so much. But it is important that at the beginning of any new activity, you think about maintaining your vertebra in this position.
The next principle we're going to show you is that you always want to dissipate energy in your joints over a longer period of time, or through storing energy in body structures. For instance, when you are landing from a jump, you want to bend your knees, ankles, and hips in order to activate more muscle groups to store energy in upon impact, and also to make the process of landing last over a longer period of time. No matter what, the total force of landing is going to be the same, but by modifying how long it takes to land, it ensures that the peak force is lower. Similarly, by having the force go through a greater number of body structures, it allows each structure to sustain less stress.
Landing from a jump is probably one of the most direct applications of this principle. Another way one could apply this is when braking from a run. When you are running, all of your momentum is in the forward direction, and so braking involves generating very high forces in the opposite direction. If you immediately stop after a run, then all of those braking forces are going to be going through your body. Once again, the same amount of force is required to stop you from running no matter what, but by braking with multiple short steps that gradually change your speed, instead of a dead stop, you make the change in force over a longer time, so the peak force is lower. Additionally, you reactivate those muscles at each step so they can continue to store energy in their structures rather than having all of that braking force go into your bones or ligaments. The final principle we're going to introduce to you is that you want to lower your center of gravity when changing direction. By doing this, you increase your stability and thus decrease risk of injury. By having a stable body position, it means that you are inherently need to generate less force to resist outside forces and thus put yourself at less risk of